What up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? I am your man, Truist Armor, and I am 5 minutes late. I apologize for that. I had to make coffee. How's your Monday running so far? I hope it's good. And again, I apologize for being late. We had some obvious issues this week while we streamed. Made me crazy, but that's all right. I'm back at it with my morning horse voice. Oh, right. I should probably kick this over. Should we even? Yeah, we should. Uh, da. All right, 7 a.m. I'm noticing a lot more people are now doing 7 a.m. shows. At least, even if you don't give me credit for it, I know I inspire you. Um, and that's the way it works, right? A good idea is often stolen and given no credit. But that's all right. We have a morning show and an afternoon show, and we do fairly big shit. Well, I don't want any of that. All right. Today I'm just really not feeling like working. But you know who is feeling like working, quite frankly. I'll tell you what I did do. I ran out of fresh milk in my coffee. That's pretty good. I ran out. It's a little too much coffee, but that's all right. I ran out to get milk for this coffee at the 7-Eleven here, and there were two young black gentlemen. By young, I mean probably mid-20s, and there are two registers. One had the sign that said this register is closed. They're literally like as far from each other as I am from this water bottle, right? Um, so I walk in, I get in line behind. There's two people. There's a guy who's taking care of his stuff, and I walk right behind him. And so I'm standing in front of the guy in front of the closed register, and I say, "What's up?" Like good morning is like in black colloquialism. What's up is good morning is how are you? I'm like, what's up? And he goes, this register is closed. And I said, I just said, what's up? And his buddy was like, yeah, man. Like, well, like he starts, I guess, going at him for a good few minutes. Literally like 2 minutes. Right? He just said, what's up, man? He didn't ask me. Like, so then the guy goes, well, I just wanted to beat him to the punch, right? And this is what it is. You always have to have some, even when you're wrong in my community, you have to have some sort of backup response to anything, right? It's always like avoiding the slings and arrows. It's always conflict, even when the conflict is diffused. No one ever goes, oh, a few people ever go, oh, my bad, to a stranger. It's just, and I'm just kind of like, how's it going this morning? We're closed. So I'm just glad that someone else like heard it because and someone that he was tight with called him out on it. But you get a lot of this. You gotta get a lot of I'm in my own head and I'm miserable or unhappy or just busy right now in my own head. And everything outside of my own head gets fuck you. It's like, what kind of way is that to walk through life, man? Right? If I was anybody else, that whole little exchange could have gotten stupid, right? I just said, what's up, motherfucker? Nobody asked you to open up shit. And then there you are, you're off to the races because everybody's protective of nonsense. And yeah, man, it was what it was. I just giggled the whole thing under my mask. No one is wearing masks anymore. That's fine. I will be wearing masks. This needs more sugar. Am I gonna go get more sugar as I grab ice water? Remember, the first thing you should drink in the morning when you wake up is water. Ah, ice water. Let's cut that light on. Ooh, it's nice out too. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's going to be ridiculous today. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be hot. And in that hotness, we will find salvation. I don't know. That sounded like a good way to tap on that. I'm not going to put more sugar in that. There's too much sugar going on. So we had a good stream yesterday. Um, it was a good stream. This learning guitar thing is good. I almost got baited into getting back into politics, and the reason I gave that up because it's my reasons for giving up is fairly arrogant. That the people I talk politics with never seem to know one of three things: know politics, quite frankly, know how to argue without being assholes. Right? I mean, you can keep an argument going for a long car ride from New York to Los Angeles, if you were right, if you like the people you're in the car with or the person you're in the car with, and you know how to argue, right? It's not about insulting somebody and one-upsmanship and got you games, right? The argument should be about assessing the topic you're talking about, uh, whose opinion is the more right. You could both be right. Whose is the more right, but it's not about I'm this great sage and you're an idiot for not believing what I tell you. Uh, I can defend why I can't say believe in Donald Trump. That's way out of the pale. But I can defend why some of the things that I like about Donald Trump. And what I liked about Donald Trump is that he wasn't a career politician. Um, and I think the career politicians needed a comeuppance, and they got it. But then the career politicians reacted to the non-career politician with this banishment zone because if he runs again, he's going to eat their lunch again. He still has a lot of support. So for the next 2 years up to the next presidential election, you're going to see a lot more of this Donald Trump evil, like they said before, right? Before he got elected, all this stuff that they didn't tell us, they didn't show us. They say he was doing all this stuff, but they didn't show us. Now there's a million investigations. Yeah, okay. America puts people in jail all the time and then lets a handful of them out. So I don't really have a lot of faith in the criminal justice or the legal system, since I don't call it a justice system anymore. And I see people doing right who get fucked over all the time. I see people doing wrong that nothing happens to. We talked about Nancy Pelosi's insider trading, right? She made $70 million. It's against the law unless she does it, right? I think Trump is just as dirty as the Clintons, right? But you only care about looking into one of them. So all of this sort of proves my point of why I'm not gonna wade back into politics. Because if I did a politics show, I'd be sitting here talking to you about politics, and I wouldn't be able to talk to anybody, right? And I couldn't have you text in or write in or call in, right? I probably could, but what I get is I'll say something. Oh, here's an example. Let's say fairy tale, right? Let's say Sleeping Beauty. I'll say I'm not a fan of Sleeping Beauty, right? And you are a fan of Sleeping Beauty. You would then defend Sleeping Beauty, right? So it's not really an honest argument. Like essentially, this person was defending like Democrats and Hillary Clinton, even as I told them that the Democrats don't protect Black people. We're killed on the street. They can't even stop the cops from killing us. Can't bring cases against anybody, right? And I told them that is a personal thing because it doesn't affect him, right? Or it may affect him. Look at these birds; they are not playing around. It may affect him, but generally it affects Black people. So that's one of my concerns. If that's not one of your concerns, why are we arguing it, right? You know what I'm saying? So now we have to move on to something that we all agree on, because you can't move me on this because you're not being attacked for it. And this is what it was. Well, it was like, well, okay, yeah, but that's doesn't concern me. Let's talk about this other stuff. Donald Trump did this. Donald Trump did that. Donald Trump's a racist. And I was like, Donald Trump just got there. Your president's been there for 50 years. He's got a track record, right? I'm not a fan of Biden. So all of this kind of like culminated me going, yeah, I'm not trying to have a stroke with people who really don't know politics. Or if you know more about politics than me, which happens, can't bring me to your side of the view without being an asshole to me, like you're my third grade teacher, You know what I mean? Like, and by the way, in junior high school, there's a lot of asshole teachers. There's a lot of that. That's another reason why people just don't care about school, right? The quality of the teachers, but nobody wants to talk about that, especially the unions. Just like nobody wants to talk about the quality of cops, especially the police unions, right? So it's all this. I could literally take these people apart all day long. And while we did this stuff, we looked it up, right? We looked up stuff. Uh, yeah. So I was like, why am I talking politics with people? And I don't mind if you look. I'll talk politics and religion. I'm one of those people. They say I've never talked those two things. Fuck you. I have a head full of information. I can absolutely talk politics and religion with you. Especially in a computer age where we can look shit up to see who's right, who's wrong. If we're both wrong, if one is slightly more right than the other, if the situation has changed in the last 5, 10 years, 2 months since we both looked at it, right? But it's like, I got you, I'm right. I'm like, what do I have to benefit from? And again, I'm from a liberal city, right? A liberal city full of Hispanics and Asians and blacks and Asians of different stripes, right? Chinese, Japanese, Indian, Taiwanese, right? Asians of different stripes, blacks of different stripes, American blacks connected to slavery, Caribbean blacks who got here by boat or plane, African blacks who got here through Egypt, through England, right? So the multitude of scenarios of what we just call black. You can call those people African Americans. You can call us over here black, right? Ton of Europeans, ton of whites, Europeans, whether those Europeans be British or Chinese or Russian. While the Russians here, just like the communist Chinese are living here, this country doesn't make any sense anymore. That's the problem. And a lot of people think that, you know, look, the picture, I look at the picture so widely and so broadly that when I look at the Democratic Party, I look at all the players in it and their 50-year histories versus the last few months that they want you to look at. They still want you to hate Donald Trump. Fine, go ahead, do that. Right? But Donald Trump mostly put money in his own pocket and his friend's pocket, where the Democratic Party have been robbing black people for their votes essentially forever and not doing anything about it. So yeah, the next dead kid that shows up is going to be on the Democrats, right? The Republicans the Republicans aren't trying to save black people anyway, but the people who claim to be on our side should be doing something for us, and that is my position. Um, Vote, the idea you ask me who I vote for, and I tell you, and then you rip into me for it. Fuck you, you know. I didn't have to tell you first of all. And you should be honored by the privilege that I did tell you, and I am having this conversation with you. And I don't have these conversations with anybody anymore. I have a fairly, that's why I left Facebook, I don't talk politics with white people anymore, policy, because it never goes well. And they're always internalized. And my thing is always generally about the racism and unfairness inherent in the system. And theirs is never that. Theirs is like, well, vote and we Democrats will fix it because the Republicans won't. Oh, really? Because you Democrats haven't been fixing it. So what are you telling me? Keep doing the same thing while no change occurs? I'm gonna sit home. And I'll tell you what I told him. I'm not saying that black people have stopped essentially slowing down with voting for Democrats, and I'm not saying that black people are going to run to the Republican Party. I'm saying they just won't vote, and now you're going to guilt people and try to use their history, our history, against us, right? Oh, you weren't allowed to vote. Oh, it's a horrible thing that black people don't vote because you know that black people only vote Democrats. So you want to sing that song. Once all the black people decide to, let's say, vote Republican, then there'll be a guilt trip. Ultimately, the Republicans always disrespect you. How could you vote for them, right? It's that song. But if you just say, I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, and I'm going to actually fix some of these imbalances in the system, and they don't. Meanwhile, like I said, we see you, Nancy Pelosi, insider trading and getting rich. Why would I continue? Hillary Clinton opens her face. And by the way, they're not persona non grata. They're not that. They're still respected within the Democratic Party. He's still a former president. But when you bring them out, the people just go, oh, fuck these two. That says something about what you got going on over there, right? I mean, that's organic from the ground up that people don't trust Hillary and Bill Clinton anymore. And you can't bring them to your Republican you're Republican. You can't bring them to your Democratic convention and have people go, oh yeah. You can't have them endorse anybody and have people go, yeah, the Clintons endorsed so and so. Now people are like, these motherfuckers have been around too long and they got it wrong, and they did some sinister stuff. So all the accusations by women against Trump is fine, right? We should all investigate that. But all the accusations by women against Clinton, nobody's talking about. Are you against this kind of behavior or aren't you? Right? This is what it comes down to. So, I'll vote for anybody who I have some faith in. Now my whole thing is, since I'm a political addict, I'm not talking to, I'm still following it. My whole thing is, who's the new people? I want the new people. And then who backs the new people? If the new people are backed by corporations and corporate, you can go fuck yourself, right? There's a lot of these people I see here who want to be the next 50, like Maya Wiley in New York, or Clintonite who's not serious. There's a ton of Clintonites who are anchors on television. Excuse me, in my opinion, just lying to people. I wouldn't just George Stephanopoulos if I was head to toe on fire and he told me I was. I would not believe him. I wouldn't believe you if you told me I was drowning and I was on the bottom of the ocean. I would not believe you. Yeah, I mean, someone else has to tell me. And I'll be like, I think I'm fucking burning up and on fire, but he just said it, so maybe I better get another opinion, because these people do nothing but lie and then shove money in their pocket. The place is a shit show. It's a shit show. You can't blame the poor for it. You can't blame the poor blacks for it. You can't blame the poor whites for it. You have to blame the people in power. And they're essentially bought off by special interests and big money and all this shit. And my whole thing is, whoever comes to fix it, I'm for that guy, because those guys should get their head cleared. Really. They are not kings in America. This is not fucking Europe. And the idea that we'll let random citizens kill other random citizens as long as it's racial is ridiculous. This whole January 6th thing is going to be a debacle, because everybody in Congress is corrupt. Well, not everybody. 536 congressmen and senators. All right. So of the 536, I would say, is it 536 or 436? I think it's 536. I would say of those 536, 300, 400 of them are full of shit and need to go. So, yeah, you don't want to talk politics with me. Because I have a long fuse, but my fuse runs out with politics. I'm not going to keep talking about Hillary Clinton and telling you what she did and have you ignore that and mention whoever else we're arguing about because you like the Clintons. So that could be Trump. That could be fucking... I can go in on Barack Obama and how useless he was too, and I voted for him twice. But you know what I did after I voted for him? I held my nose and voted for him again. And I was like, maybe he'll fix the criminal justice system, and he didn't do a fucking thing but give sad speeches about it. He wouldn't even take on these lobbies of criminal people who have power, and then just like the Klan had power and sit in offices, need to drag them out. Dropped a building on sleeping people. No one gets arrested. It's outrageous. But you want to slander everybody who won't get this shot. In a place where you don't have to get this shot. This is not Russia. It's not Iran. They can't drag you into some hospital and give you a shot. Speaking of which, what happened to what is his name? Who the cop stopped him and jabbed a needle in his neck? That is the most blatant murder I think I've seen the cops commit in a while, and no one even talks about it because they can't defend it, so it's not on TV anymore. So it's these kind of things. So it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to play this guitar. I'm going to try to do it here. We're going to do light politics, light social stuff. We're going to concentrate on betterment of, me, myself, you, as many as we can get, as many good things as we can get, because the bad guys are in charge. They're greedy for money, and they don't seem to be. They're emboldened by their lockdown of how they run the government. No one can say anything about them. No one can question anything. No one goes to jail for insider trading. I'm beginning to think, look, in every society, no matter how far you rise, you have people who run across the law, and you never see it with congressmen and senators. And you know that's bullshit, right? Every now and then someone breaks a story, then it goes away. You don't think these people are smacking around women? There's a bunch of rape stories, we know. So with rape stories come violent stories, right? It's the arrogance of I'm above everybody else. I can do all this stuff. So there's a lot that goes with that, not just sexual impropriety and physical violence, right? But it's greed, it's theft, right? It's the mafia. It's all the shit the mafia did. I bet you some of these congressmen have coke issues, right? They're just behind this veil, and you're not allowed to look in. Or it's. But meanwhile, life on the ground gets worse for everybody. And then they tell you to blame the blacks, those inner city kids, blame those women, those single mothers, blame those greedy takers, right? Oh, now these greedy fast food workers are just asking for too much money. You should have learned the code. It's always something about you. You are always a fucked up person who fucked it up versus them writing laws against you. So uninterested in talking politics with people who aren't serious about politics or who can only talk it from this safe and comfortable zone, right? Everyone should benefit, not just this handful of people. And once you start demonizing me, you just strike me as one of those I need milk in this coffee. One of those old abolitionists who's like, yeah, black people should be able to not be slaves anymore, but I don't want them living near me. I don't want them doing anything. I don't want them You weren't really in it. Some of these things are things for people to do, right? And then all of a sudden they do them and they get elected or voted to sit. Then they have to adopt more of it, but they were never believers in the first place. All the true believers get murdered off or bought off. And if they get bought off, they're not true believers. I got to tell you, man, I don't really know how I feel about this coffee. It's it doesn't it could use a little more milk, just a little. It could use a little more sugar, just a little. Or it could use a little more hot water. All three of them. And that's another thing. Me trying to decipher what's wrong with this coffee is sort of where my head is at. I'm always trying to decipher what the problem is and how to fix the problem. Other people just want to talk about the problem, right? America is a hot mess of a shit show of a country right now. And I don't see how it's going to be around here for 50 years if you have a kleptocracy running the place. And it is a kleptocracy. Uh, it's socialism for them, socialism oligarchy for them. And it's not even a democracy for us. What would it be for us? A totalitarian regime. Yeah. You have rights until you exercise them. Then it's your ass. Right? Oh yeah, you can go jogging in the street, but then you go jogging in the street and people stop you. They have a right to stop you. They have a right to shoot you dead with a shotgun in the middle of the road. You know, you have rights until you need to exercise them. Then people tell you don't have any. And meanwhile, our enemies are living here. People you fought wars against are living here. People need to really be arrested for some of the shit going on in this country. Everything is grandstanding. Pink offers to pay the fine for Norway's women beach handball team after they broke the sexist uniform. First of all, it's not a sexist uniform rule. Every woman wears this shit. Now, and this American celebrity is going to pay for a foreign country's fine in the that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's grandstanding. What is your association to this nation? So you're going to pay them, then they come here and they beat the Americans. You look, who taught you the logic of what people? Oh. And I think they're all stupid because you make this wild pronouncement. Maybe never mind. They're all the victims, right? And they do this with a team of people. They have agents and managers, and they have private lawyers and business lawyers. They just The amount of fuckery going on here for people who don't read and don't do, and I know they don't read. People who barely got out of high school because they could sing, right? Beyonce famously doesn't have a high school degree, but who needs one? I have $300 million. Yeah, you still need to fucking be smart. And people get robbed from their handlers all the time. Maybe you should have, well, I have $300 million. Maybe I should go back and get a degree, or at least maybe I should go back and I don't know, man. It is what it is. Do whatever you want with your life. Yeah, it's all the same. China is a paranoid and evil country. Why are we even letting them make shit for us? China accuses the U.S. of imaginary enemy in high-level talks. They're always doing evil shit, but they're always a victim. They sound like the fucking Klan, right? The Klan is always a victim. A sinister organization always sliding into police departments and judgeships and all this stuff. And do you find out where they are? I mean, it's the last. I mean, we should be wiping them out. We should be hunting them down. But they're all in Congress, get in bed with foreigners for money, which makes you a traitor. But if someone actually arrests you for trading them, is it really trading them? If a traitorous tree falls in the woods and everyone in the woods is pro-traitorous tree, is anybody going to make a sound? All right, let's get to this thing. Um, this is wow. We just had like 20 minutes of political talk, all because of something that happened this weekend on the show. But again, I don't. Are we going to stand up? We're going to stand up. I don't really do political talk with randoms anymore. I'll do it with some people because some people I know and I like, and we have a 20, 30-year history together. And I know they're not going to be ridiculous. And if they are ridiculous, we have a 20-year history together. I don't have to end the stream. I can just be like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? All right. Because we're friends. But yeah, you're not going to insult me and low key ridicule me because you're wrong or you can't wrap your head around the shit that I'm telling you. And everything I tell you, like I always said, is based in my blackness, right? I'm not voting for somebody who I think is a racist so the cops can further murder me. And you, quote unquote, right, don't know who you are. But let's say you as a white person from, let's say, Oregon or Tennessee or Texas or Montana, who doesn't have these problems, can't really argue me out of them, right? It's like if you were a lady and I had a problem with Me Too, and I'm arguing, I think Me Too has some holes in it. I really can't hold a candle to your concerns, you as a lady working in these environments, right? This is where the empathy in your conversation comes in, right? And the only thing I can look, and this is, I also do this in my conversation. Let's not make it personal because I can't argue your personal life, right? So if we're arguing and someone goes, "This happened to me," I go, "See, you just made it personal. I can't argue that. That's a true story. How did that story impact what we're saying here? Because I can give you a personal story, and make this whole thing about race and racism, and where would you be? You'd be out of the conversation unless you were like, well, we used to chase black people all the time, and this is why we did it. Who wants to add that to the conversation? It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Uh, but I do think whether you agree with me or not, you should be politically activated. You should know who's doing what and why they're doing it. I just wish people were better at being politically activated rather than just being politically arrogant. Because my whole thing is Biden has a long history of racist shit that everybody seemed to all of a sudden ignore. The Democratic Party wants black votes, but will ignore the racist bullshit. Is what it is, baby. I don't know what to tell you. So the midterm elections are 2 years away. When's the midterm elections? Oh wow, you know what? This show might hit its mark around the midterm elections. A year and a half. Midterm elections are in November. Stop doing this. Let's do this. Here. Midterm elections. Two. So yeah, so midterm elections are a year. Every time you open up something, I get this restreamer is horrible. It really is horrible. Free or not, it's horrible. I'm gonna have to, for best performance, connect your router with an Ethernet cable directly and or close other applications. It really is outrageous. 2022, we're gonna see what Biden does other than guilt you into voting for him in the election and what he does now that his official position is there is no racism, which is not going to harm him because it's not like the Republicans are going to go that America is a racist country, right? It's people like me going, what the ever loving fuck is going on around here, and why am I voting for these dark souls? I'm not doing that anymore. So we're going to learn to play guitar here over the next year and a half, and when 2022 rolls around, we're going to be good. What up, my man? I do have a hardwired internet cable. It's all goes into the router. I just think it's this weird setup. This like streamer has. And I'm thinking about like just buying a streamer because it doesn't do this, and then I can game. I tried to game on this thing, and the same thing happened with the imagery, which is just bad. So yeah, we're gonna fire up. We're gonna do this afternoon show now. We're gonna set it up and drop it in. So you know that I will be here at I'm about to say four, haha, at 6 this afternoon. I hope you're doing well. Ace World, everyone in the chat, Ace World, Sunday Night Smoke, I highly recommend it. If you want to get some really good insight into some of the things going on in our community, yeah, check out Ace World. I mean, seriously, that is a good show. Yeah, and he'll take your calls. You can call in. You don't have to type. So yeah, get some of that Sunday Night Smoke. I'll link it up again, put it up here on screen so you can see it. His Sunday Night Smoke is a show. Ace World is the host. Get some of that. It's good for you. Then when you have a conversation with me, you will be armed and prepared. Hold on, wait a minute. Is my morning show set for PM? This morning show is PM. What is going on with me today? All right. Oh boy. All right. Let's change this to AM just so it's right in the archives. 30th day AM show, Monday morning. There you go. That's correct. Let's save that. Let's go back here and change this to evening. $6 today. Be here with libations. You know, the more I talk about not wanting to do the more I talk about not wanting to do my political show, the more I want to do my political show just to flex on people, quite frankly, you know, because it's easy to do with a freaking laptop next to you where you can go, we can look that shit up right now, right? That takes a lot of the agita out. But when you smugly look up stuff and embarrass people on stream, it's not awesome, and you don't want to do it, and I don't want to do it. But you know, sometimes, man, people smug arrogance about their rightness. Man, it stays with me because I know some of those people in some of those pictures. We showed a couple of pictures to prove my point of why I'm like this, and they were the bitter fruit pictures of whole towns hanging one guy. And my point was, look, man, I know the whole town didn't hang this guy from a tree, but the whole town's out taking a picture. So who can I trust? The one who's hanging is just as dangerous as the one who will watch me get hung. right? This is the wildness of where I am with my political life. And I want to solve the problem. If I can get 10 guys to actually work with me for like a year and a half to solve it, I think it'd be over, right? It'd be out of my system. Whether something of those 10 men will come out and work a better NAACP, a better core, a better, maybe start a bank. I don't know. Maybe start some small something for it, to show that we are in charge of our own destiny, right? Fine. Or even if we tried and it didn't work out, fine. But my whole thing is we have to do this ourselves, and no one is doing anything. And that makes me crazy. And we're all relying on the Democrats who just churn us like cattle for votes, right? I mean, you can't stop the police killings, so why am I voting for you? Right? You can't stop the banks from looting me with these unfair interest rates, and why am I voting for you? Your whole argument is, oh, well, you can't vote for the Republicans. Oh, yeah, okay, that's true, but I don't have to vote for you either. And that's what I think they're missing. I think people are going to get so disenchanted with the Democratic Party that people won't show up to the polls. And you guilting me is not going to work. And then you bringing out Obama to go, hey, let me tell you about your history and how you couldn't vote. I'm going to go, first of all, calm down, African. Let me explain to you what the drama is and why we're here. You know what I'm saying? I think we just want brown faces to do it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what I'm about. Okay, so let us do. You keep saying pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Every time we try that, you attack us. Look. The original civil rights movement was about leave us alone, stop them from killing us. We can do this ourselves. We opened banks and had our own towns and all this stuff. Now the civil rights movement is, I want to work in your office, right? It's this. There's still some leave the violence out of it, right? Like the cops and these protests, but those protests are window dressing because the people in charge could stop that. They could stop that. They could arrest these cops and do it. Man, it's just goofy, right? I don't want to be a part of the new, and like they keep talking about making America, putting America back together. Who liked it the way it was? Only the wealthy, right? This is the opportunity to fix this system. We should fix this system. But nah, like I said, Nancy Pelosi made $70 million insider trading. Right? I mean, it is what it is. You see people doing this wild stuff. So, and you see the incompetence of it. So now this January 6th thing is going to be the same bullshit show of Republicans and Democrats on TV snarking at each other, playing for their constituencies, and nothing's going to get done. The way they phrase this thing, it wasn't an insurrection. Nobody was going to vote for those assholes. A guy who looks like the Grand Poobah from the Flintstones with the horns. What is he, Secretary of State? Shut up. Nobody's voting for that. But to keep you agitated, they keep calling it an insurgency, right? No one's charged with insurrection. No one's charged with being a traitor to the nation. They're charged with rioting. They're charged with trespassing, federal trespassing. Don't get me wrong. You trespass on my lawn, the cops are going to come drag you off, write you a ticket. The judge will tell you to stay away from my house. That'd be it. Right. But federal, yeah, you trespass on federal land and look at the 5 to 7 years they give you, right? It's sort of outrageous. So yeah, I expect them all to, take a hit. And the first guy who got convicted got 8 months for what? Insurrection? 8 months? The fuck out of here. So if I'm a traitor, why are you giving me 8 months in jail? See, it's the media lies to you. The media stands up a lot of this nonsense. And all this the media doesn't lie to you, and the media, only time the media is concerned is when a journalist is killed. And that's self-protection. We want to say don't kill us journalists, right? That's self-protection. But the media will sell you the fuck out. Remember, the Central Park Five was put in jail, not just by the corrupt justice system. The media had a huge hand in that. And now the media comes back 30 years later, like, oh, we are shocked. How did 5 young men go to shut up? You know what I mean? Like nobody was there watching what you did. Like I'm looking around like, does no one remember? You were alive when this happened. Does no one remember this? Man, I may kick this political show off again, actually. Can I do politics every day? You fucking bet I can do politics every day. But it'll be mostly me repeating history over and over again. So I don't know. And it's Monday, right? We stream every day, 7 a.m., 6 p.m. We do it to it. learning music and some politics and some social justice stuff. And quite frankly, wishing you well, because I don't think enough people wish their fellow Americans well. I've been taking a hit on this guitar thing, man. I think I haven't hit a wall, but man, I have been slipping. So we're gonna have to stop slipping and further our walk on this journey. At least to get good enough to write uh not anti-war songs. What are those songs in the 70s that those hippies wrote? Like the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. You know those are they spiritual songs? How many roads must a man walk down? All those cryptic kind of 60s ballads, but they don't mention women. You know what I'm saying? I rode through the desert on a horse with no name. Those kind of weird songs where you're like, yeah, it's nice, but what the fuck does that even mean? Who knows? Maybe I write rap songs on acoustic. Back that thing up. But yeah, I don't know, man. Politics, you should all be involved in it. Like I said, I'm not telling you what to believe, but I think a lot of people are pulling the wool over so many Americans' eyes that you can only hate other Americans, and that is a problem. This place will be Syria like that. You know, there's so many guns, there's so much hatred at your fellow American, and 80-year-old graft artists who are all lawyers, by the way, who write like holes in these laws so they can do this stuff. Just like hackers leave backdoors and programs to get into like these operating systems. It's the same thing, right? Everybody hacks it in the early days, not the rap days, but in the early days of music. Like Barry Gordy owns none of the stuff he did in the 50s and 60s with Motown because they wrote some weird shit in contracts. It's that sinister kind of thing that black people be like, leave us alone, we can do it ourselves. And now that's not what the civil rights movement is about. It's about, hey, come on, we want to be your best sidekick. And it's like, I don't want to be your fucking sidekick. I don't want to vote for Nancy Pelosi or any of these 90-year-old fucktards, excuse my language, right? I want somebody to solve my problem. I want, if God forbid the cops murder me on the fucking street, I want actual justice. I don't want you to kick it down the road till people forget about it and then it's the next one. And I want to remind you, the stat is every 3 days the black guy's killed in this country. Had that stat dropped? Has that stat dropped? Or has they just stopped reporting on it because they told the media, yeah, I know it's good rating, but it's fucking causing us all sorts of problems, so lay off it for a while. And then they laid off it, right? If it bleeds, it leads, unless it's about to fucking start like an incursion or lose me an election. So I just wanted to show you all the, you know, the Black Lives Matter women who are now the civil rights leaders, and they're all in bed with the Democrats, right? So it's always, this is outrageous. We need to vote for some. How did you make this about voting for some 70-year-old white lawyer, right? And people, this is where you are. Let me. And when it gets real bad, they show up in your church and tell you how we're all, don't show up in my church. And I blame us. We have yet to take our destiny in our own hands in any real way. And the last time we did, it was attacked, right? Two towns, one in Florida and the other was in Oklahoma, right? So, I mean, it is what it is. I don't see progress. And I see so much anger in the community that it's just at each other. It's not at the people causing the problem. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. Me in politics, maybe not. But if you want some good stuff, like I said, check out Sunday Night Smoke Pod. That's not a bad idea either. Do a 20-minute political pod once a week. So do this. I could actually do that. I could actually do that. That's actually worth considering. All right. Ooh, so remember the morning pods that every morning, Saturday and Sunday included. But the weekday pods are, I have to fix that clock. The weekday pods are an hour and 10 minutes or so, hour 15 minutes. And the night pods are as long as we want, but generally about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours, but generally like 90 minutes to 2 hours. Except for the weekends. The weekends, they are as long as we want because they're our flipping weekends. We can do what we want. I like to play guitar, but sometimes we talk politics. Sometimes we talk cooking. Sometimes we talk movies. Yeah, it's all over the place. Like a good weekend should be. It shouldn't. Your weekend shouldn't be full of things to do. You know what I mean? You should be able to sit if you want to sit, or run and go. Like, oh, I'm gonna pop and do this immediately. And that's what the weekend pods are about. We try not to put too many caveats on it, other than we're here to play guitar. That's the reason that we get together. So if the reason why we got together to come to your house with a barbecue, and then we play chess or checkers or play guitar or watched Stargate, Star Wars, Star Trek, right? That's all good. Back in the day, um, I have to have Pietro on the show. We're gonna have Pietro on the show this weekend. Pietro's a friend of mine from my mid 20s who's going through. Can I say the end stages of this game? And I had a conversation with him a couple of days ago, like an hour. Just we fell right back into where we were, you know. And he's going to be on the show because he's a. I like his insight, and it may help the both of us. Because the older I get, man, the last year I've lost like a lot of dudes that I grew up with, that I hung out with, and you're sort of arrogant, right? Because I've been lucky. I think I haven't actually lost any friends. I remember, oh, forgot his name, but we were kids. He died in a car accident on 130th Avenue and Springfield Boulevard. Because it used to be this curve that, and then this tight curve, and I guess he slid out of that curve across the lane and into a tree. And he was like 14, 15, riding with like 16, 17, 18. Young people drive fast. And I was like, wow. But then since then, it's been a charmed life of, yeah, Teddy, right? Yeah, it was Teddy. So like me and Ace World, who's in the chat, we go back like receding hairlines, right? We go back like throwbacks. We go back like time machines, right? We go back like history. so we go back. But yeah, I mean, every now and then I would like think of him and be like, whenever, usually when someone told me, oh yeah, I got to go home for a funeral or this happened, I'd be like, oh. And then I would think, wow, I've been really lucky. Like, family's been tight. Niece and nephews aren't so ridiculous that they do goofy stuff. The latest thing that I had in my family was my nephew broke his ankle, and that was the thing that caused the slow. So I have to believe in God, because I think while I haven't lived a charmed life, I think I've been incredibly lucky with the people I've met and the things that I've done. Right. So I'm thankful. They could have easily been worse, because I've seen people who had it worse. Right. So I'm grateful. But I'm also wow, there but for the grace of God, right? Um, got to get it together, right? We are all, especially, and with this whole thing, me and music, this has a political and sort of African American connotation to it, right? I'm like, I got to get away from the politics because it's making me crazy. We're gonna learn to do this because I've got these things in my house and I've been piddling around for 20 years. Let's actually learn it. Did the research and learn. It takes about a year and a half to learn an instrument, or a year and a half to you learn a keyboard, how to be a beat maker, producer, right? Year and a half to get your pipes up to sing, right? Just about a year and a half to learn about anything. And that's not long. That is not long at all, right? So I was like, all right, let's do that. And quite simply, music is, all the music you like has its roots in American Black culture, right? Everything from rock and roll to blues to jazz to doo-wop to hip hop, right? All the old stuff, ragtime, um, all of it, right? So I'm looking at this as like, if I'm trying to regain culture, I should learn an instrument. Like New Orleans, everybody in New Orleans essentially plays an instrument. And I always wonder, why is that not true in every community all across the place? But it's hard to sit down and learn an instrument when you're set upon perpetually and constantly, right? You need to do that with a whole group of people, sort of have it be church and social gathering and hanging out, and then play instruments. And then those people go home and they have music in their head, then they teach it to their kids. So you can put it back in society, but it's hard to do it one by one. See, I'm sort of amazed that New Orleans, it hasn't been wiped out of their ethos, quite frankly. But New Orleans had a very different slave system than the rest of us had. A lot of them were intermarrying with whites, and they could inherit, like, they were called mulattoes, which is now a racial slur. Um, I remember hearing it. I didn't know it was a racial slur, but then somewhere around the 80s, it became a racial slur, which is fine. And then a rapper, like a year ago, used it as her rap name. And when I heard it, I was like, why don't you just name yourself Negress, right? That would be just as ridiculous. And then, like, she changed it. I wonder what she changed it to. Let's look it up. Rapper named her name. Rapper name. No. How do you? And we're losing. Use best Google Drive. Close. Yeah, man. Okay, rapper. So now her name is Lotto, Lattl, instead of Mulatto. This, right? That tells me Alicia Michelle Steve is known professionally as Lotto, or Big Lotto, is an American rapper from Atlanta, Georgia. So she had to change her name. Rapper Mulatto is officially changing her name to Lotto. This tells me you're stupid. You grew up in Atlanta and you didn't know the kind of. And granted, maybe you're young. The people around you should have told you this. And this is it. This is why I think the civil rights movement is dead. No one passes this shit down to their kids. I was telling my nephew, like, the people who raised me are different from the people who raised you, even as the people who raised you are my sister, right? And it's the idea, and you're also affected by the environment you grew up in, I told him, right? So the thing is, I was raised in the 60s by Black Panthers and really religious people who were like, oh, no violence. And then Black Panthers like, got to protect yourself. And so, do for yourself, all this kind of stuff. Somewhere around the 80s, it became about get that money. And now all these people have a get that money attitude where you can sell poison to the poorest people in your own community, and people love you for having stuff versus loathe you for being, bad for the community. The image is back. Being bad for the community. So in the 60s, yeah, people knew who these people were, but they weren't beloved. And now, they're beloved. So who undid you, right? It's this thing. So I really do believe if this shit kicks back over, I don't know how this became a social justice podcast. When this thing kicks back over, all those people are going to be standing outside, right? If we have a change your heart and go, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. The first thing you're going to have to do is look at the people who did that. And the message they sent out. Because even if they didn't, they're sending out this message of, I don't know, man. There's always been people who undid the work for their own convenience, right? And every now and then. So, all right, so what are we doing? It is Monday, the 26th of July. Please, 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 I hope you enjoyed your weekend. Do not waste weekends. These things are a precious commodity. Whether you know it or not, you have a limited amount of weekends. And some days you'll get to the age where you may have weekends, but not be able to go outside and enjoy them. So enjoy them now. I hope that's never the case. You should always be up and perambulating, walking around essentially. And like I said yesterday, I don't want to who wants to live forever. I don't want to live forever. The day I can't stand up or wipe my own ass is the day I don't want to be here. I don't want anybody taking care of me ever. Right? Some people like, I want to be a head on a plate. I want somebody to come in here and attend to me. Let the young do their own thing. We have a very weird society. Everybody talks about being mavericks and rebels, but everybody's wants to be a henpecked sort of soul. Everybody's trying to rebuild England here, to have all these earls and dukes who run all these people, and it's not what the place is about. Ooh. So I've been trying to get this thing down, and man, it has been a week of smacking me around. I'm actually thinking about adding in our songwriting thing, since I didn't know what to do, I might actually throw some rapping up in there. How to write a rap? Anybody know how to write a rap? There's like several ways to do it. And everybody does. I've seen young ladies doing it who had no rhythm. I see people make money off it, and I don't know how they're making money off it. Some of it is, well, first of all of it is pop music now, pop rap music. None of it is actually what it was supposed to be. Like reggae music, which is music of the people. Not in America. Everything gets sold off, bought off, or corrupted. So yeah, but we went through Slick Rick's children's story, right? We did that a couple of days ago to show you his lyrical skill. We went through several rappers. I forget who we went to. And here we go. Once upon a time, not long ago, where people, what was it? And I forgot the first lyrics. But yeah, when we were talking about stories and how songs that tell you stories are always really good and interesting. So we did that one. We did El Paso. We did Panchi and Lefty and Panchi, Pancho and Lefty. A little, and it was fun. And then we slid into politics, and a cloud, like in the movies, just kind of covered the sky, and there was drama. So yeah, you are not guaranteed tomorrow, people. All this, I'll do it next week stuff. I totally get, but you don't want to say I'll do it in 6 months. I'll do it in a year. You want to have a window of about, unless you're going to travel, you want to have a window of about 3 weeks. 21 days is really all you need to run at it, really. Maybe I will get back into basket weaving, or maybe I will plant a garden. You know, it's really easy to get into most things, and it takes a little time to get good at it. Like I say, the worst you've ever been at anything is the day you picked it up, is the day you started it, right? I'm going to be a rapper. Okay, I can rhyme cat with hat, and people are like, oh, that's horrible. But 6 months down the line, you're better. I'm not saying you'll be the greatest, but you're better than when you started. And maybe 6 months from that point, you'll be decent. And then maybe 6 months from that point, you know, so it's always an evolving thing. And that's everything. So I fully encourage you to pick up some cool thing. My man Ace World got into podcasting, and he's knocking it out. He's fucking killing it, right? So, I mean, that's what you want, right? The first day, oh, I've got some problems. I'll work those out. And then by the time you're down the road, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year and a half, who knows how good you'll be, right? Take the thing seriously. Like I said, it's not work. It's something you wanted. Oh, okay. Dog was sticking his head out the window. I always look at dogs with their heads out the window. So we have been streaming for an hour. We showed up 5 minutes late. Sorry about that. Stream generally lasts an hour and 15 minutes in the morning, so we can all get coffee and go to work. So we're coming up to our end point, which I guess will be the 8:15 mark, which is always it. Oh, excuse me. We will be here this evening, hopefully with a schedule. Your mouth to God's ears. Or we'll be sitting here talking about other stuff. Either way, we'll be here. Please show up and talk smoke with us. Like I said, please, if you want to know more about these kind of things, get at my man. Peace out, man. Get at my man Ace World and his show, Sunday Night Smoke Podcast. It's good stuff, right? It really is good stuff. And they don't do just Sunday nights, right? So yeah, give him a like and a subscribe and get notified when he's doing his thing. It's good stuff. It is really good stuff. So, like I said, we'll probably be ending this in 10 minutes. So this is where we begin to wrap up, which it always takes me about 15, 20 minutes to slowly stop talking. Uh, um, so yeah, let's give you the speeches, right? They did a poll about 25 years ago in the 70s, the 80s and the 90s. They did like every 10 years, I think. Uh, about people who had friends and people didn't have friends. So they asked back then how many people had one friend, how many people had five friends, how many people had 10 friends. And the people who had one friend, let's say, oh, I only got one friend. That was like 20 guys who only had one friend. Then they did the same poll again, like this year, a few months ago. And the amount of people who had one friend wasn't 20 people. It was like three people, right? The people who had five friends back then may have been 50, and then those were down to like 10, right? So people are knowing less and less people. People aren't getting married. People don't trust each other. Marriage don't last. When you do have kids, you have one. They have no brothers and sisters. All this community, all this knowing. Look, when you live in a house, I had two brothers and two sisters, as well as two parents, right? So when you live in a house with seven people, you learn about people's personality types. You know that everything isn't you. Some are quieter, some are uh, funnier. You live in their emotional state and they live in your emotional state. uh it's kind of important. Now people only listen to themselves and what they want, and I think it's harder and harder for them to hang with other people, right? And this is why when you're a little one, your parents take you to school and stick you in with all the other kids to socialize you, so you don't just bite people, because they tell you don't bite, don't hit, right? So they socialize. They didn't do that. You get 30-year-old running around biting and hitting people and wondering why the society hated you, right? So all these things are important, and they're important as you get older. You need a social circle. Sometimes you're stupid as a rock and you say stuff, and your homies go do 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 do. No 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 no. That is not true. And you go really, and then they mediate like these wild highs and lows that we have, and you begin to live in like a window, like a bracket of socialism, right? You're not so happy that you do stupid stuff, and you're not so sad that you do stupid stuff. You exist in this societal belt that we all sort of need. Um, yeah, but now people like exist there like tiny little ways, and then when something happens, it's outsourced reaction one way or outsourced reaction the other way. Like, I like this girl, dated her once, you're way up here. 2 days later, it's over. Then you're heartbroken, you're way down here. It's not. It's not normal, right? Um, and you grow up in a house where people tell you you're the most important thing, and da 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 da, and they tell you that since you're 18, 19, 20, I guess. And then you go out into the world, and no one sees you that way. And then you're sad because you don't know. So all these things, you need to go out there and meet people. How do you do that? I've explained this before. I'm gonna give you the quick rundown. Super simple, super easy. You go join something, or in the pandemic, that's sort of hard, but you go to something that you like, and then you meet people there. Then the second stage of that is hanging out with those people outside of that place where you met them. So if I met you at church, if I met you at the D&D game, if I met you at the clubs, if I met you at work, the next stage of that friendship is to hang out at a bar. Go, not a picnic, but go to a game, a baseball, football, basketball, soccer game. Go da da da. Then the next stage after that is just to hang out without anything like that. Um, what you doing tonight? I was gonna watch X-Men on TV or X-Files on TV or whatever. Go, oh well, the game is on tonight and we're having some people over, right? Then you go to that person's house and you have them at your house, right? Intimate settings, their friends like you, your friends like them, and this is how you grow your connection. What you don't do is date any of these people, right? Because if you date them and it breaks up, then you don't have any friends. You will meet people that they know, and maybe uh, those people will meet people that you know, and you branch out, and then maybe you'll date one of them once, right? Or have the confidence to go and ask somebody in these places that you are with these people. Oh, that girl's staring at you. Go over there and say hi. You would never have been in that situation if you had not left the house to be friends in the first place, right? So you're slowly building your friendship alliance. I find a lot of these sad boys, these racists, they join racist clubs, racist guilds, and that's where they stay. They only know racists and they only talk race, and then they all get arrested together. They weren't ever really friends, right? They were bullshit allies under this thing. Same thing with church. Same thing like bullshit allies. You have to be able to move yourself out of that, and then in that environment meet other people and talk about all things. So if you meet somebody, all his friends are racist. Yeah, okay, I guess you're making friends, but they are all racist, right? And you can't talk about everything. And once you do talk about everything, they don't want that. Then well, I'm out because these people aren't it, right? Or maybe you'll meet one guy and he'll go, "That's Bob. He's fucking a racist. Just ignore him," right? So then you're still in, but you know that one guy's the issue. So this is how you get out of your house, out from in front of your computer, out from your Xbox, and slowly meet people. And like I said, you're a consequential individual. You don't have to take friends shit by anybody who offers it to you. You can be like, no, what for? And some people hit you weirdly, right? That's another thing. I walk into a room, I'll like of 100 people, I'll like 75, 80 of them. But about 10 of them will make me wiggy at the sight of them, and I don't want any part of them. I look at that as a core thing, and I never ignore it. And other will look at you and be like, for whatever reason, I don't like it, right? Not all racial reasons. I don't like his eyes. I don't like the tone of his voice. I don't like the way he carries himself. Who knows why you don't like anybody? And that's the way these things happen. But you'll still be out there, right? Meeting people, making friends, getting it done. You need allies. And it's hard to do in this society when money is so key to everything. And it's hard to go out and have a beer with people if you're broke, if you've got to work 12-hour shifts because, the job won't give you off. So all these things. And then at least you can communicate with like maybe people at work where you met them at work and you hang out and go, man, this job is crazy. Do you have allies in the hatred of your boss or like the anger of this policy that they established? And then it starts there. Oh yeah, we agree on this. Hey, what do you think about superhero movies? Oh man, I binged them all. Oh man, really, we're having a watch party. And then you slowly get in that way. And that's how you make friends. If you have to be a little vulnerable, don't be a raw nerve though, like I say, but be vulnerable. You have to be able to open up and talk to people about some things. And yeah, you can get out there, make friends, and give all these people who just want you to sit inside and order on Amazon and watch TV and lament your fate and blame other people for your fate. You can just take yourself out of that whole thing. But yeah, you should still know politics and who's doing what around you and why you can't own a house or buy a boat or whatever the case may be. Because sometimes it's not the poor people around the corner from you stopping you from buying a boat. Having said that, you are a consequential soul, whether God made you out of clay or whether the universe put you together and you're perambulating around this BIH, right? Either way, that is an amazing origin story for you. And that means that, you're likely wasting a little time sitting around not being interesting when you're fucking interesting. So go be interesting. Learn that music or instrument. Write that story, write that book, write that play, paint more. Go out with your kids just to get them more into sunshine. I want them to be out more. Go out with them, So, and these are the memories you make, right? If you're lucky enough to have kids, these are the memories you make. This when you are older than each other. Like I remember my mom. We got out. I don't know when this happened. We did all this cool stuff, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're totally different for it now." And that's what you want. All right, it is 8:15. This is the end of this one. Good God bless you. I hope you have a good day. Remember, your job is not you. Your job is what you do to keep the roof over your head and food on the table. You are something wholly, completely different from that. Go find out who you are and what you are and what you want, and then let us know about it with a book or show or a painting or, how you just upped your social game and now are in a giant love triangle with 9 supermodels. All right. Anything can happen. Your life is rich and it's likely calling to you. All right. Your man True S Armor on YouTube, Karma Armor on Twitch, here on the Hap Streamer. I'm True Armor, TRUARMOR. I got love for you, even though I don't know you. I wish you well. As long as you wish others well. And I will see you in the next one, 6 p.m. tonight. Be there or miss out. And if you miss that one, we'll be here tomorrow morning with coffee. Come get some, baby. Enjoy your day. working in the mines, and we will see you when we're all free at 6. Libation